Okay, so good morning, everyone. And I'm happy to see you this morning at Masterful Mornings. It's a Wednesday morning, and I've been up for a couple of hours now. I'm just getting ready to. What am I doing this morning? I'm getting ready. I'm looking at various properties in Tuscany for my workshop. In September. So I'm doing an Awakening Your Mastery workshop in September, and I've been like checking out. I love this one, and I'm looking at a few others, and um, picking food, and it's going to be awesome. So that's what I'm doing. But today we're going to be talking about why you want to be on the right side of infinity. Good morning, Miko. How are you? Um, and what that means. So, I say, do you want to be on the right side of infinity? And people might not know what I'm talking about. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit this morning. There's a quote from Carlos Castaneda, and I want to read that to you. And Carlos Castaneda stated that the most difficult problem that all civilized people seem to have is that we are all in our bodies, that we are going to die, but we act as if we're not, so that the concept of infinity eludes us. And because we don't see our infinite nature, we get stuck in the inactive side of infinity. So even though we understand, like many of us, some of us don't believe that there's going to be, that we move into an energetic, into that universe and then become reborn. Some people don't believe that. Some people believe that there's a beginning and there's an end, and that's all there is. So there's a beginning of this life and there's an end of this life. Um, I am not one of those believers. I completely believe that we go on and on and on and on forever. In fact, I did I do a lot of communication with energy, and when I the other day I was with some friends and we were trying to figure out how many past lives we've had. And mine came up to something like 83 or something. So, there is definitely bigger things going on out there. This whole universe was not created to have one simple lifetime. That's my belief. So because we think we understand sort of the idea of infinity, and that we move on, but we get stuck in this body, and this body is what holds us up. Good morning, Joanne. This body is what holds us up. Hi, Tina. It makes us think consciously that maybe, when we're done, we're done. So we've got this thing going on. Even though we believe it, we still fear death. So when I think about death, I think about it like a transition. I no longer worry about when I'm going to die. Or sometimes, believe it or not, and I know this is going to sound really, really weird. Sometimes when people have transitioned, because that's what I call it, it's a transition. So when people have transitioned, sometimes I actually feel a little bit jealous. And because they get to they finish their purpose, they've done what they're supposed to do. And now they get to move on to the next fun thing. And not that I'm in a rush to get there, but I definitely I'm a little bit like, good for them. Right. So I don't have that look at death anymore that once upon a time I may have had. Good morning, Helen. How are you? So we accept that others are going to die, but in a lot of times we fear our own death. Right? We fear our own death. And I posted something this morning saying that, we have no time. Buddha says we actually have no time, and we have no time. And the post makes it sound like, we don't have any time left. Well, we actually don't, because time is an illusion. Time is something that we live on this planet, this 24-hour, 365-day, 52-week, year that we live in. How many years are we going to live on this planet? And that time is only on this planet. That measure of time is only here. So if you were living on Jupiter, you would have a different concept of time. Good morning, Sean. And if you were living in a different galaxy with two suns, you might have a completely different concept of time. So in energy, when we think of infinity, there's no time. No time. Everything is right now. And people are starting to awaken to this concept more and more because, you read books like from Eckhart Tolle, Carlos Castaneda, these people, Bruce Lipton, some wonderful, highly famous and intelligent people who are saying there's no time. Everything is right now. Most of us, however, get hung up on the has-been, living in our past, never ever living in the present, in the now. And the sad part about that is that you're missing the now. You're so worried and hung up on your memories and the things that have happened in the past. And I say that like that, but I know that it's hard for some people. They've lived a traumatic past. So I get it, but you need to work on that. You need to deal with that. You need to get the help that you need to move so that you can live in the present. One thing that you will never find in your past is joy, because joy is in this moment. You will never be able to plan for joy. You will never ever be able to feel joy or talk about joy from the past. You could just talk about it like a memory, but to feel joy is only in the now. So when we are worried about our past and we're living in our memories, good morning, Penelope, and we're also worried about our future, we're missing out on all this joy of now in this moment. So this fear of death stops us from being connected. So those of you who watched yesterday, we talked a lot about being connected. Good morning, Sam. We talked a lot about being connected, right? So when we're connected, we're on the active side of infinity. We are living in the infinity. When we are feeling disconnected, not that we ever can be disconnected, but we can have the feeling of disconnection. When we have that feeling, we're on the inactive side of infinity and we're living in fear. A lot of times our fears are they're false. They're not real, right? We get afraid to do something or afraid to walk a certain path or afraid to believe something different than we've ever believed before, or to open our minds to something bigger. And that fear is false. It's something our mind puts up to protect us from the unknown, right? It protects us from the unknown. So if you were to actually, how many times in your life have you been afraid to do something, but you do it and then you're like, I don't know what I was afraid of. That was no big deal, right? You have to think about fear like that. A lot of our fears are just false. And if you can just walk through them, you're going to find that there was nothing to be afraid of. Okay. We need to connect to get into this power so we can live this life without limit. I've said this before. I will say it again. I will never, hi, Tina. I will never, ever stop saying how powerful we are and how limitless we are. How limitless we are. Every cell in our body, every part of us. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Lynn. I love that you guys are all joining me in the morning. Yes, fear is an illusion of the time. You are right. Hi, Danica. This infinity is running through us. It's created us. Hi, Lynn. And so if it's running through us and it brings tears to my eyes to know how powerful we are and we don't know it. It's that false fear. You know, part of that workshop that I'm working on to put together in Tuscany is about awakening your master. That's the master that you have inside you. That is that person that energy that you have inside you that will never, ever end. Will never end. So death it's a transition, right? It's like, I'm going to change this shirt. I'm going to take off this shirt. It's a transition, right? You are releasing this container that's holding this infinity, this divine energy. It's a container. We're a vessel. Yes, we have free will. We're living an experience. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, this body is a container. And inside each one of us is this wonderful divine. So I challenge you, the next time you look at a loved one, the next time you look into someone's eyes, look beyond that, look deeper. And you may see something or feel something that's not about the vessel or the container. It's that something that's inside them. It's that something that's inside them. So that's just something that you might want to try. Someone dies and they're dead forever and they will never come back. That's our thing. We just turn into nothingness. That's not true. We move into the no thing. We are no thing. We are nowhere, and we are in no time, and we are no one. Because when we transition, we completely are part of the infinity. There's no longer are we in this container. Now, how about if I stretched your minds just a little bit more? And some of you might get this, some of you might know this already, and some of you might go, what? And just have to think about it. What if I said to you, if you are a believer in past life, what if I said to you that every life that you've ever lived in the past and every life that you will be living in the future is all happening right now? They're all playing out right now. The concept of the time of that I lived 5,000 years ago. Remember, in energy, there is no time. In infinity, there is no time. So all of those lifetimes are playing right now. It's all happening now. I remember when I sort of figured that out for the first time and I was like, oh my God, right? No wonder we can slip. Like when I take people into past lives and stuff, like how we can easily slip from one life into another. Because they're all happening right now. There is no past. Right? So interesting, something to think about and ponder and kind of roll around in your head a little bit, but interesting stuff, right? So we think about and understand that we understand that we are limitless, but we don't allow ourselves to live limitless. Okay? We get the concept of it, but we don't allow ourselves to live that way. Okay. So I can sit here and you can listen to me every single day about the stuff that I'm saying and then go, oh yeah, I get that. I get that. That's cool. That's awesome. But are you living it? Right? You know, Napoleon Hill, one of the great people of our time, said, knowledge, knowing something, they always said knowledge is power, and that's not true. Knowledge is only potential power. Execution of that knowledge is the power. So I think of knowledge like gas in a car, right? Those of you who watch me hear me use this metaphor all the time. Knowledge is like gas in the car. If you don't drive the car, it doesn't matter how much gas you have in the car. Okay? So understanding that you are limitless is great. But what are you going to do with that information? Good morning, Trisha. right? So what are you going to do with that information? Okay. What if you took your fears and sort of stepped away from them? So if you listen to people like Dr. Joe Dispenza, I love him, and he says that we are 99, and it's been proven through quantum physics and different things that we are 99.9% energy. Okay. 0.01% this body and experience that we're having right now. So if that's the case, what if we stepped into that 99.9%? I always call that like stepping onto the other side of the mirror, right? What if we stepped into that and observed this life? Do you know what I mean? Like stand outside of it and observe it. If you stand outside and sort of disassociate, but in a healthy way, disassociate from it and sort of look at your life and go, oh, well, wouldn't it be easier to move the puzzle pieces around? Right? Good morning, Natalie. Wouldn't it be easier to like say, oh, I can change that. And oh, look what I'm doing over there. Well, no. Right? And start moving the pieces around. But what we do is we stay here in this 0.01% and we limit ourselves from what we can do. Okay? So, ponder these things, think about these things. When we think of all of the sicknesses that some people are suffering from different illnesses, instead of living inside the illness, living inside the sickness, what if you stepped away into that 99.9% of you that is not sick? Because only this vessel is experiencing that. Observe it. What could you change when you look at yourself through the eyes of a limitless power? Once upon a time, what I was saying, I would probably be hung for it. Okay. But what I'm telling you is people are getting educated now. We are becoming awakened now. People are waking up, and it's time to take that box of beliefs that we have and pitch it and start to say, listen, what is really going on around here? Right? What is really going on? Good morning, TJ and Jan. What is really happening? So allowing yourself, good morning, David, to see things differently, even for a moment. Allow yourself to think about what you could do. How much of your life the rest of your life, you could change it. You could make it exactly what you want. And how good would that feel? Self-love, that's a big thing. Everyone that I work with, every client that comes into my office, every time we're talking in the clinic, I'm working with my clients online, they will say the same things. When I say self-love, they're like, I don't love myself. I don't trust myself. So let's go back to what I said before. We are full of that infinity and that limitless power that made you. And if you are 99.9% of this limitless power, if you don't like yourself, and if you don't love yourself, and if you don't trust yourself, guess who you don't trust? It's not you. You're only 0.01%. Are you saying that you don't trust infinity, the creator? Are you saying that you don't love the creator and what it created? You are a thought of the creator. You don't love that? You're not grateful for that? You don't love what he made or she made, what it made, the energy made for you? This experience? You are the creator. You are that energy. You are infinity. How can you say that you believe in God and a higher power and then turn around and say, I don't trust it and I don't love it? Think of it that way. What this body looks like, it doesn't matter. That's just such a small piece of who we are. And when you can look past that and at the energy inside each person, you are going to see the beauty of who they are. you are going to see infinity. Okay? So, because you can, if you live in the now, you can be at peace with it. Because God and peace are the same thing. I'm just going to switch off this thing that's ticking and making noises. 1 second here. Sorry about that. I've got something on my computer that's on. I just need to mute it. Okay, there we go. Instead, we remain stuck and bracketed in this time slot, and that is ego. Good morning, Evelyn and Clive. That is ego that is keeping you here. Okay, that voice in your head. Now, I've talked to a lot of you guys about what that voice in your is just a passenger. Okay, you have free will, you have your spirit, that gut voice, that beautiful energy, and then you have this other energy that's in your head that if you can hear it, then you're listening to it. And if you're listening to it, then it's not you. Okay? So because you're hearing something going on that's spewing out a lot of your negative belief systems. Your limiting beliefs are talking to you. Okay? So it's about learning to control the voice. You know, that's one of the things that I like to teach my clients immediately is how to control that voice. Good morning, Bernie. Because that voice can limit us a lot because we're trying to obtain some kind of perfection. You know, we're never good enough. We're never worthy enough. We're never smart enough, right? So starting to learn that. So one of the sides, if we look at the 4 sides of infinity, let's think of infinity like a box. It's not a box, but let's pretend it's a box. One of those sides is time. So we were talking about time right now. And Einstein says there is only now. You know, these are people that we look to. Good morning, Christine. We look to and say, oh, look at how smart they are. And they've made their stamp. They've made their impact on humanity. And they're telling you that there is only now. And yet we decide to live in our memories and relive and relive and relive and listen to limiting beliefs. There is only now. There's nothing else but now. So just paying attention to that and really starting to get that into you, you know, really starting to roll that around in your head, not just waiting until I stop talking today and then moving on with your life and forgetting everything that I said. It's about what is now. Now is now. You need to deal with things now. And if you can stay in the now, you're going to find that life is way easier for you. Right? The first thing we do when we wake up in the morning is we immediately, that voice in our head wakes up and starts thinking about, you know, I didn't do this. I got to do that. I can't get this done. You know, all this crap starts going on in your head and you begin living in your memories. And when you live in your memories, those memories have emotions. And those emotions create chemical releases in your body. And most of those chemicals are no good. And your cells become addicted to those chemicals. Do you see the cycle that happens? And then your physiology begins to emanate what you're feeling. Your state of being changes. Instead of waking up in the morning and saying, I love myself, I am grateful for this day, and I can't wait to get going. You know, living in the now and being excited about every moment. And being grateful for even the obstacles that show up because they're there to teach you something, okay? We talk about feeling alone and lonely. We're never alone. We are all connected to each other. So if you can allow yourself to get onto that side of infinity, that connectedness, to understand that we are all cut from the same cloth and that cloth never can like really be cut because it's all connected forever and ever and ever. You're not alone ever. Never, never, never. Good morning, Barbara Sawyer. How are you? So we all have that appointment with infinity, that time that we will leave this body, this container, this vessel. We all have that appointment. But so does all of our other lives on this planet, on other planets. That's another thing. You know, when past life, when I teach past life, I'm always talking about like, what makes us think we're only going to be here? There's a whole universe out there. It was not created all for Earth. You know, we get all caught up in how we're the only thing that's walking and talking. Not so. So our lives in this body are just a speck in the infinity. We are like a dust particle, the smallest little piece of dust in infinity. But yet we're part of that whole, that oneness with everything. With everything. So we're a paradigm. You know, we're a walking paradigm. So it's about trying to reconcile this limited body with the limitless energy that's inside it. Okay. So that's what I want you to try to give some thought to today is time. Think about time. Good morning, Bridget. Bridget. I hope I'm saying that right. I know my name's difficult too. So like I said, I hope that you can give some time to time today and the illusion of time and try and stay present. When you're present and not thinking about stuff from the past and worried about the future, it's so much easier to get through your day. You know, try and narrow it down. Only think about today. If you can't stay in the present right now, then how about you just stay in this week? And then you start trying to stay, you know, within the next few days. And then you start trying to stay in just today. And then, you know, I'm just going to stay within this next 12 hours and start bringing yourself slowly back into the now. You're not a light switch. I don't expect you to just switch from, you know, one way of being into another way of being. But think of it like a baby walk. You know, you're going to take a few steps, you're going to fall down, you're going to get up, you're going to take a few more steps, you're going to fall down, you're going to get up, but be easy on yourself and just keep getting up. I mean, a baby is smart enough to keep getting up and not getting frustrated, or else the baby would never walk, right? So don't be frustrated. If you forget, if you slip, just pick it up and keep going, right? Just pick yourself up and keep on going. And start to learn to love yourself because, again, when people say I love God and I am a big believer in God and I go to church and I, you know, all the stuff that they say and they practice their spirituality in one way or another, because spirituality means different things to different people. But then they say that they hate themselves and they don't trust themselves and they're lonely. That doesn't make sense because you are all of those things you just said you loved. Okay, you already are that. You already are God. You already are energy. You are made up of that beautiful infinite energy. Call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter to me. But you are already made of that. You are a container for that. So how can you possibly not love it? So just thinking about that, just thinking about things in a different way, different than you've ever thought about them before, opens the door to an infinite amount of opportunities and avenues and roads and paths, and condemning something closes those doors. Condemning something without trying it, without allowing it, takes away your opportunities. So give it a try and see how that works for you. All right? Just let it be. Surrender to it. You know, allow yourself to just surrender to it. And you're going to see how things change for you. All right. So I will talk to you guys very, very soon. Have a fantastic day. Love you all. Thank you for always supporting me and the wonderful messages and the emails and the texts that I get after these videos that people send to me. I want to thank you so much for that. Don't forget to follow me Share these to people. And, if you are on my podcast, please follow my podcast. I got lots of great stuff coming, and I look forward to sharing it all with you guys. So I'll talk to you later. Have a fantastic day. Bye.